Okay, so nervous, but yeah.
You are at the other end.
Yeah.
Right?
The Business Lab.
Welcome, listeners, to the Business Lab. I'm very excited because today we have none other than Ferdaus. Right? Today's podcast is supported by our venue sponsor, Craft by 3, and made possible with the media magic of Studio 5 Corp. Let's get started. Now, my guest for today is none other than Ferdaus Hamza, a strategic branding expert with a proven track record, founded NEU Entity, a branding and marketing firm with a global reach. He's skilled in integrating branding with strategic and system thinking to aid businesses in a rapidly evolving world. Now, with educational roots in computer science and multimedia, Ferdaus has over a decade of experience serving clients like SIA and Starbucks. He's also on the board of directors at Muslimin Trust Fund Association. And on social media, Ferdaus discusses topics around branding and content creation, reflecting his deep understanding of marketing and his commitment to delivering value through insightful strategies. Let's get started. Ferdaus, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. The last time when we met, it was at a coffee shop at Arab Street, remember?
Yes. We had a very in-depth conversation.
It was so in-depth, and I felt that I had so much knowledge and wisdom from you,
Likewise.
from someone being in the industry for a decade. Yeah. And for the podcast, I'd like to make it available for the listeners out there. 3 groups of people might be listening. The first, I've never started a business before. I'm not even thinking of starting a business. What should I know about, right, to kind of see whether it's for me? And the second group of people, maybe I've already started a business. I have a startup. I started selling something. What should I focus on in the early stages of my business? And lastly, the advanced business owners. What are some of the tips and tricks? What are some of the insights that you've learned so that they can apply into their business? So are you ready?
Ready.
Let's drop a bomb on you.
Okay.
I'm going to start by dropping a bomb.
Let's get to it.
Well, you're ready, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's get to it. All right, I love the energy. So first, imagine you're in this scenario, okay? So the scenario is this. As a startup owner, you walk into a room full of chaos. You're drowning in a sea of marketing possibilities. So many options out there, so confusing. Okay? What advice would you give to someone to navigate this maze and make the most out of their limited marketing budget?
All right. So I can totally empathize with such a situation. And when you are bombarded every day with all these marketing gurus suggesting all kinds of things, all the different tactics, all the different tools, it does get overwhelming very fast. So what I would recommend is to just slow down. Don't be in a position that you need to absorb everything. There's just too much information out there. So when you slow down, you come across a few tools. Give yourself the time to explore them, like try them out. Like a lot of the tools today are actually gonna make your work a lot faster and shorter anyway. So give yourself that respect to slow down and try things out and find the ones that really resonates with you, because different tools are made for different types of people. Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Why slow down?
The world we are living in today is going faster. I would say it's an accelerating world. It's not even a fast world. It keeps on getting faster and faster. And I would largely attribute it to technology, social media. So us as human beings, our brains are not wired for this. So we get a lot of, a lot of issues with getting a lot of bombardments from social media, and slowing down and just giving yourself time to explore, that's one of the best things you can do for yourself at an early stage.
It sounds really wise because the natural inclination is faster, better. Oh, there's a new tool, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? So why do you think people are so attracted to going fast, go? Why do you think that's the case?
I'll give you an analogy.
Sure.
Like if you're driving around, right? If you know that you're on a straight road and it's it's a clear road for miles, then it makes sense to just hit the accelerator and just go all out, right?
Okay.
But if you're in the city and you're finding your way, do you want to go fast and cause a lot of damage to yourself and other people? So that's the kind of thinking I have. Like you find your bearings first. So give yourself the time to try. And once you see something that works, then go all in. That's where the speed comes in.
So that's a great analogy. So if you're driving and you're trying to go fast, you might crash.
You might hurt yourself.
Have you seen
hurt
a lot of
others.
people that have crashed?
Too many. There's too many who
Too
are
many.
overly ambitious, who wanted to go fast. And initially, in the earlier years, I did a lot of work with the tech companies. So they are operating at triple or quadruple the speed of a normal human being. So they're thinking way ahead. They have a lot of money. They what we call hot money. Basically, they get investments and they need to get ROI fast. So it was a very the speed isn't healthy. People can get used to it for sure, but I would say the rate of failure is very high if you operate like that.
It sounds like it's a mistake, not just for startup owners, but even experienced big enterprises.
Definitely. Although if people are coming from the corporate world and they want to start their own,
Yeah.
the mistake I typically see is they want to put in structures like how their bigger business had. And the startup world is very much different. Like you have to do things on a budget, like you said, and you have to be smart about how you do things to achieve what those guys are getting.
So it's interesting, like we talk about budget, everyone has a limited budget, right? And then you mentioned startups need to be smart with the money.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the enterprises, the bigger organizations kind of feel like it's hot money, throw. Do you see any commonality between the mistakes that startups are making and enterprises are making in that case?
Commonalities.
Yeah. What's a common mistake?
I think it's interesting that the big guys or the corporates are trying their best to emulate the startup, or to have a bit of a nimble environment to work with, whereas the startup is trying their best to try to look like the big boys. So that's the irony when the platforms only care or only serve the audience. So in their own vanity, trying to look a certain way or trying to deploy certain strategies for their own sake, right? They forget that all that matters is what the consumer needs. So I would say put all the focus on the consumer rather than who's the competitor, who's your, hey, I want to look big, I want to be like the small guys or the cool guys.
Yeah, it's like we get so worked up, like we wanna, like FOMO, right? Someone else is doing something and I have to do it too.
For sure, definitely.
It's
There's so much of that.
There's so much of FOMO, and it sounds like what you're telling me is that go with your own pace, do what's right by your customer. That's a great conversation to have, right? Why is it so important to focus on the customer and your consumer and the people that you're serving? Why is this a good starting point then?
As a starting point, definitely focus on the consumer, because as a business, you exist for a purpose, which is to, whatever your business model is, it is to help the customer get something, right? Some kind of value. So if nobody exists for just for the sake of looking good, or for the sake of even those who make looking good as a business model, right? Like influencers, for example, they serve the customer. The customer are the companies that pay them for sponsorships, right? So it is still serving a target customer base. So revolve all your thinking around there, understand your audience, your personas, and it kind of almost writes itself out, your marketing plan, your business plan.
I love that. I want to pick out what you just mentioned, which is the word. It's the word he mentioned there. Not sure if you guys picked it up. The word persona. Persona. So what is this persona? Please share with us. Like, what is a persona?
Sure. So there's this saying that I hold on until today. If you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. Right? So
can you repeat that for the people at the back?
I think if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. So basically, you need to define who is it that you're talking to. What do they care about? What's important for them, and how does what you do resonate with them, or be something that they would realize that they need it rather than it's just a passing thing or it doesn't mean anything to
So
me.
what's an example of a persona?
So a persona could be defined as like you. It's always wise to put a name to it, because
Okay.
if you want to refer to it or to him or to her, you have a name, and it's almost like when you finish crafting the persona, it's so real that you can literally see that person standing in front of you, and all the messaging, the words that you use, the way you talk in your podcast and all that is being spoken to that person.
Wow.
Yeah. And it becomes a juggling game once you have 2 to 3 or maybe even more personas. There's always the trick about it's always tricky to balance them and to not dilute your messaging, because again it goes back, if you have too many, then it becomes like it's for everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
And then you basically-
Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, right? Yeah.
So how many is too much and how many is just nice?
So it depends on the size of the company or the business and the different verticals that it has.
Okay.
My advice is always, if you're starting out and you have one product, make it about for one person.
One product, one person. Okay.
Yeah. It's always easier. Even though instinctively you might want to try a few things, you want to see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's what's being a startup is all about. You kind of navigate and until you find that sweet spot. But as the business grow and you have different verticals or different product offerings perhaps, then you start to see that product A is for this type, product B is for this type. And you might have a product C which is a combination for both of these personas or the third type. So you start to segment your audience based on what you do or what provide.
Segment. That means you break them up into smaller pies.
Yes. And the messaging becomes clearer for each.
Wow. Amazing. And when the message is clear, what happens?
People, I mean, the most fundamental thing is you want people to get you, to understand what you do, why it matters, right? And if you get that to that level, you kind of win half the battle already. So the rest is like just a matter of assurance and them convincing themselves that, okay, I already want to buy your product. So what else? That's where they start to see consume your content, and they start, oh, this is good. They're actually selling to themselves.
That's amazing.
So that's how today's selling is mostly
And
done.
do you need a big budget to do things like that?
So the answer is, is yes or no. But if you're a startup, you're constrained by budget, you like I said earlier, you have to work smart. So even if you don't have the budget, you can go by different ways. If you
Okay.
have the budget, all of these platforms, their business model is to take money for ads, right? So you will get a competitive advantage if you put in money for ads. That said, if you don't know how to run the ads, you'll be wasting a lot of money.
Right. So don't waste your money, guys. Okay. Contact Ferdaus one.
Nice plug there. Thank you.
Okay. So what you're saying is it's a lot like pouring oil into a fire. Right. If the fire is not, there's no fire yet. There's nothing there. Pouring oil is just wasting the money, right?
Oh, that's a nice analogy.
So I guess I think there's a great wisdom, and that's why I love talking to you. You always get a lot of gems.
Thank you.
I'm trying to dig as many gems for you guys. All right, so let's go to the second one. How can startups not just keep up but actually lead the charge in this roller coaster of industry changes? As a startup, how can they be at an advantage instead of a seemingly disadvantage? Then,
I think the good thing that we have right now is the even playing field that technology and social media has given us. Of course, earlier on I said they always prefer people to put in money to boost and run their ads, but at the same time, nothing beats organic. So organic is where, arguably these platforms might even have to cut if it goes too far or it goes against their standards. So because they've built the platform to reward organic reach. And to answer your question, the startup who is creative, who can think differently from how other people with budget do their marketing, they will be able to do things that get attention and meaningfully. So you don't want to be just getting attention for the sake of like just going viral. That actually does some damage to you. and I can explain later on.
Sure.
But you want to get attention for the right reasons that will help you get into the reach of the people that you otherwise would have to spend money to get to.
So as a startup, my main advantage would you say it's speed?
Agility.
Okay.
Yeah, ability to try things out, fail, and be okay that you fail. Because in a bigger context, like if you're working for a bigger company and every piece of copy, every piece of video has to be vetted through, and there's like 7 levels of approvals, you don't have speed. You don't have, and if something goes wrong, it means somebody's job. So everybody's afraid to make mistakes, afraid to try things. Whereas in a startup, and if you're doing it yourself, you have that luxury.
Agility. I love
Agility,
that word.
yeah.
You'll be nimble, right?
Yes.
Can respond to change. Amazing. Having said that, some of the listeners are probably not startups. Some of them are maybe already established businesses,
Okay.
many years in the game.
Yeah.
What about them? Like, how do they pose a greater advantage to their competitors, having been in their industry for a while?
Okay. So those who have been in business for a while, I would say don't get complacent with their marketing. Speaking from my expertise, right?
Okay.
You've had the years or the experience to know how the market shifts and all that, but understand that the marketing landscape is shifting at ridiculous speeds, and anybody who does things slightly differently or who's able to penetrate can easily put you out of business if you're not careful. So don't be too complacent saying that, okay, I've got my stream of customers, my loyal customers. It just takes a bit of change to them, and because a lot of people are the behavior is kind of on an automatic mode. The moment there's a disruption, and today's landscape is extremely disruptive, they'll start thinking and they'll start changing. So we've seen so many of these unicorns that basically destroys industries, right? So you don't want to be caught up in that. So I would say always strive to stay relevant and don't be complacent with your marketing.
Okay, so be relevant, don't be complacent, keep on evolving.
Yes, it's a must.
Right? Evolution. Must.
It's a must.
What if you don't?
You stand a risk. Nobody knows the future, but you stand a bigger risk of being out of relevance and basically people looking elsewhere to get their services or products.
Okay, so I think it's relevant for both startups, those who have already started their businesses, to not be complacent and keep on growing and evolving. I think that's a great message, right?
Sure.
Right. So something else I want to ask you about how startups want practical tips today, right? What's your go-to advice for those with tight budgets looking to make a splash in the marketing arena? I got such a limited pie, but I want to conquer the world. What should I do?
Stay on the lookout for the new and upcoming technology. The reason for this is when this new tech comes out, right, nobody really understands. They're still in the novelty stage. So for example, like all this AI stuff, right? People get excited over it. Look at how much cool things I can produce. But the application to the industry or application to your business it's still a blur. Like nobody really understands how to do it. So if you spend enough time exploring that, adopting that innovation, you could really get a hit. And we've already seen so many of this. For example, again, using AI and like AI voice, AI video,
Right.
or image generation. So many channels are getting massive amount of reach, and they're actually monetizing already. And the moment they start, linking it to a product or service or a company, that business is going to boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in essence, really take advantage of the AI tools. Could you make mention of some useful AI tools for our viewers to just be aware of?
Okay, so I'm sure everybody is aware of like the usuals, right? ChatGPT, Midjourney. I would encourage you guys to try Harpa. So this is a tool that you just plug into Google Chrome, and it's kind of like your AI assistant. Any web page that you are on, you can just talk to the AI and kind of extract stuff. It facilitates it. It makes things so much faster and easier, and it can be like your assistant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Assistant.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, the bio that I read was through Harpa. So AI, there you go. The AI assistant, you got a PA. Ferdaus, thank you so much for your time. So many gems. I think if we just apply one of them, I tell you, your business is gonna boom.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
And I think you're gonna save a lot of trouble for people who are confused and looking for guidance, and those who are more advanced and be like, wow, okay, this is an interesting tool, Harpa, right? And yeah, you use Harpa for your bio.
Yeah.
So it's a great AI tool. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Do follow us on our social media channels and watch us on YouTube and listen to us on Spotify. See ya!